Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and I'm back again for another guitar lesson. And this time we're going to be blending some of the jazzier influences with the heavier rock and progressive metal type things. Yesterday I uploaded a video talking about my Mayonnaise True Temperament Evertune guitar, beautiful guitar, and for that I wrote a new piece of music. And what I've always been interested in when it comes to writing music, especially heavy music, is chord progressions that have a little bit more harmonic depth to them. I love these richer sounding chords. It's the reason I actually went for a True Temperament neck, so my chords could be a little bit more in tune and they could ring out with distortion and not be so offensive on the ears. And I thought it would be fun to kind of look into the voicings that I play in that particular tune and to hopefully inspire you to go out and figure out some of your own chord voicings. So what I'm going to do now is cut in the track just so you can listen to it in its entirety. It's only about a minute long, and yeah, listen, pay careful attention to the chords. What I'm looking for is big, rich chordal sounds. So it sounds like this. So obviously that's not a finished piece of music, it's just some riffs that I threw together for the video that I put up yesterday. But I definitely like some of the ideas in there. I've always been into looking for more interesting chords. When I put out the Hellcat Molly album 5 years ago or so, I was playing in drop D on that, and all of the chord voicings are a little bit richer than just power chords. I'm constantly adding notes to my chords to kind of flesh them out and create a bigger sound. And now I'm looking at doing the same thing. I find it very easy to do in a drop tuning, but it's a little bit harder when you're in standard tuning. So I have this guitar in standard tuning, so I needed to look for some chord voicings that were going to give me the richness that I was looking for. So I'm drawing on lots of chord inversions and lots of seventh chords here, but in essence, everything that I'm going to show you today are chords that you will be able to play on a standard tuned guitar. They will sound fine. In fact, they'll sound good. So let's take a look at some of them. So the first chord is an E major 7. Very simple chord voicing, just sounds great. I'm playing 7 on the A string, 6 on the D, and 8 on the G string. And again, I'm playing with just as much distortion as I did on the original track, just so you can hear these in the context of the track. So that's my E major 7. That's the root, the third, and the 7th of E. And I'm offsetting that against the open E string. So nice sounding chord. Of course, these will all be in a guitar profile that my patrons will be able to download. So if you want to check me out on Patreon, link in the description. Now, the whole point of a chord like that is I'm thinking of it as being an E major 7. It's not just a voicing. Any E major 7 voicing is going to do the trick here. And there are lots that you can play. Another kind of fun one would be we could play, we might go, what could I do here? If I played, yeah, maybe play that. Now, I found that chord by just knowing that what I'm looking for is an E major 7. If I plug that into the chord progression, sounds absolutely fine, right? That's useful to me. That is how I go about doing this type of thing, thinking about the actual chord I'm playing and how can I flesh that out. So there's a couple of E major 7 voicings. Now the rest of the chord progression, after playing this E major 7 sound, we then go to a C, down to an A, back to our E. So it's an E to a C to an A. Now the C is a major chord, it's a C major. Now I don't want this chord progression to just be power chords. I wouldn't want to go. Now, of course, that has its place, but it's not really what I'm into. So instead of playing just a regular boring C, we could play a C major 7. So I could actually use the exact same voicing that I use for the E. I could just move that down here. Could do the same thing that we looked at before. These are all C major 7s, but that's not the voicing I played on the recording. What I played on the recording was the low C on the 8th fret of the E string, and then 9 and 9 on the D and G strings. And again, thinking intervallically, that's the root of my C chord, the 7th of my C chord, and the 3rd of my C chord. When you put the E and the C after each other, you have. It works. I could, if I wanted to, I guess, play my C like this. That's going to work. But I don't like the way that sounds. So for the A minor, I play an A minor 7 chord. So I'm playing A, 5th fret of the low E, 5 and 5 on the D and G. So my full riff. Now I like that. It's it's definitely appealing to me. It sounds cool. If I mix it up. These sound cool. They sound fresh to my ears. It reminds me of Aaron Marshall in Intervals. Definitely an influence on me. So that would be that first chord progression. Now, after playing that, I wanted something heavy that sounded kind of similar, but used some slightly cooler inversions. So I go to the open position. I play this E5 voicing that I'm quite fond of. I'm thinking this as being E major, even though I'm technically not playing the 3rd. So I'm playing the open E string, 2nd fret on the D string, and the 4th fret on the G string. And this is great because I can then put my 3rd finger down on the 4th fret of the E string, which is G sharp, so the 3rd of our E chord. So we go from an E5, and then this is an E over G sharp. It's the first inversion E chord. Now I then keep this voicing on top, but just move that G sharp down to a G natural. Now I love that chord. It's like a resolution. And this could be thought of as a fair few things. This is an E minor chord in first inversion. You could think of this as being a G6. You could also think of this as being a C major 7 with a G in the bass. You've got lots of ways of thinking about this. And to be completely honest with you, I didn't think about it at all. I just followed the sound of where I wanted that bass note to go, and I liked what it did. So I then take that exact same chord voicing and move it up to C. So again, you could think that this could be an A minor triad, it could be a C6, or it could be an F major 7 with a C in the bass. There are lots of options. It's not important. The thing that's important is do you like the sound? And when you're writing for this, what bass note should the bass player be playing? E, G sharp, G, C. Now I like that. It's a cool sounding chord progression. Definitely for me, it grabs my ears. Now from there, I wanted to go to something that gave me a little bit more space. So I play a C add 9. Now this is like your classic, this has been used on the prog and rock scene for years and years, right? Root 5th and 9th. That's 3, 5, and 7 on the A, D, and G strings. So I'm thinking of this as being a C chord. And I play it as 16th notes and leave some space. So I go, leaving some space there. Then the voicing I get to after that is I keep those 2 notes on top. I change the bass note. So we go from the C in the bass. I then put a B flat in the bass. Now after that, again, I was playing around with what sounds right to my ears, what appeals to me, what do I want to do. I like these notes staying on top, so I wanted this bass note to then move down a semitone to A. But fingering wise, I found that to be a pain. Using my thumb there, or you need to change your fingering to do that. What I quickly realised is after playing the B flat in the bass, I can play the open A string. And that's that chord section. Now from there, what I did is I wanted to go back into the first section again, that E major to C major to A minor chord progression, because I like that. And what I did originally when I wrote that is there's a vocal part. Actually, if you listen carefully in that intro, I'm singing in the background there. I'm trying to be Devon Townsend, but being terrible at being Devon Townsend. I've just thought, I actually played it originally as octaves on the guitar, but then I thought, you know what, maybe if I sing that 4 or 5 times and layer it out, make it like a thick choral sound, maybe that will sound cool. And it did. I thought it sounded really good. So when it came back to me playing that riff again, rather than playing why don't I put the melody that I was singing originally in the guitar part? And if you listen to that, it's all against an E. You have that's just the melody against the bass note. So I played that and I just put sixths underneath them. So we have. So that's me playing the open E, 2nd fret A, and 6th fret D. Same voicing, but 2 frets higher. So 8 on the D, 4 on the A, and open E. We then move up to 9 on the D and 6 on the A. Bit of tension there. Then we move up to the first shape, 11 on the D and 9, 7 even. 11 on the D and 7 on the A. So the full riff. Now we would expect to go to C major and then to A minor, but rather than doing them, I played something slightly different. I played C major like this. So it's 8 on the low E, 7 and 9. Same voicing as down here. But because of the Evertune and the True Temperament, I can play it up here and it sounds pretty in tune. Sounds great. Then I need to go to A minor. I played the A, the add 9 sound. Then to that open E. So you have this. I think that sounds really cool. It gives you just a richness to things, rather than me having to play those chords and going and singing that part over the top, or whatever it was I happened to sing. I can now fill that out in the riff, fill that out in the chord. And I think that sort of variation that you get there gives you a lot of options when it comes to chord writing, and that's what I'm all about. To me, this is a song, sure, but it's a chord progression, and I'm using my guitar as a way to flesh out that chord progression. It's an E major 7 to a C major 7 to an A minor 7, and I'm fleshing that out in lots of different ways. That next section, you could think of it in lots of different ways, but it's E major, first inversion, E major. Could even think of that as being E minor to C, or you could think of it as being G to C. Either way, it's a chord progression, and then I'm using that as a kind of springboard for my musical ideas to kind of flesh things out. So I'll just play all of those chords one more time for you. First chords were lovely chords, I like those. Second section, really like those chords. Middle section, really like that. And then the E major to C chord movement, but with a melody in the chords. And there we go. Nice and simple. So for me, that's a huge part of writing metal, writing progressive music, writing modern music, is looking for interesting chords. I grew up just playing punk rock power chord stuff, and nothing sounds more boring to me now than power chords, and I would hate for my music to be limited by power chords. So experiment with some of these chord voicings. Look into these richer sounding chord voicings. Go out there and listen to bands and see if you can find some of these richer sounding chords in their music. I mentioned intervals earlier. I'm a big fan of Aaron Marshall's playing, and you hear a lot of these seventh chords in his music, and they sound great, with a bit of overdrive. I think they really do sound great. Add a kind of layer of musical complexity to things, and is well worth your time. So there you go, guys. You wanted more of this guitar? There it is. I'll be doing more of it though. Don't worry. It's going to keep coming back. I love it. Any questions about those chords? Any observations? Anything that you would like to ask? Please do let me know in that comment section below. Lastly, I just want to say a huge thank you to my supporters over on Patreon. As always, you guys keep these videos coming, especially in these trying times. So thank you so much for sticking with me. If you would like to check me out on Patreon, there is a link in the description. If you don't want to do that, that's also absolutely fine. You can head on over to Amazon, have a look for Levi Clay, and you'll find one of my books. Great ways to support me. No progressive metal books there though, because I don't know why. There's no good reason to why, actually, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, thank you for all your kindness, generosity, and support. So you can check me out on Patreon by clicking this button up here. You can subscribe by clicking this button down here, and you'll see 2 more of my videos here and here. Any questions? As I say, please do let me know in that comment section below. I'm always reading and happy to engage. Much love. Look after yourselves. Look after your families. Look after your friends. And I will see you for another video soon. Goodbye.